The Eagles lose to the Cowboys 40-34. I'll recap the game and also go over some injury news that is sure to play a role down the stretch and into the postseason. Also, the Sixers are streaking, winners of 8 in a row. What has contributed to this run and why the team is probably going to get even better. This episode of the Philly Sports Spot YouTube channel starts right now. What's going on, everybody, and welcome into this edition of the Philly Sports Spot YouTube channel. I am your host, Jordan Hirsch. And now, guys, before we get into this video, please make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel with notifications turned on so you never miss another upload. Make sure you guys are also following me on Instagram. The link will be down in the description below. The Eagles do fall to the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Final score 40-34. It was a really good game. It was definitely one of the more entertaining games of the season. However, the Eagles come up just a little bit short, and of course the biggest problem in this game was the turnovers. Eagles turned the ball over 4 times, including 2 critical ones in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be very hard to win games when you turn it over that many times. And that being said, the Eagles were actually almost able to come away with a win, as they only lost by 6 and had a chance there at the end of the game to drive down the field and win. Drive kind of just stalled in the red zone. Eagles came up a little bit short. But the Eagles actually never punted in this game. It was either a drive finishing with a score or with a turnover. So even with all those turnovers, the Eagles were that close to winning. And that's why I'm not really concerned about this loss. Obviously, backup quarterback in there. Has only really practiced with the starters for 1 week. And even with all that, Minshew's rhythm was pretty good. I mean, he was able to kind of spread the ball around very well. He found a bunch of different receivers. Devontae Smith, of course, had the biggest game. Dallas Goedert had a good game. A.J. Brown also had a good game. So I'm not really too concerned about this team. Jalen Hurts is possibly going to be back for the game against New Orleans this weekend. But first, I want to get into the scoring summary for this Eagles-Cowboys game because it was back and forth the entire way. Eagles got the ball first and went down the field on 7 plays and capped that drive off with a 25-yard field goal by Jake Elliott. So they went up 3-0, and then so Dallas gets the ball back after that and immediately gives up a pick 6. Dak Prescott intercepted by Josh Sweat, who returns it 42 yards. It's 10-0 Eagles, just 9-8 with still 9:18 left in the first quarter, and things are looking good. It looks like we're gonna be on our way to a Christmas Eve win in Dallas and embarrass the Cowboys on national TV. However, Dallas was able to come back and immediately turn around as they put together a 14-play drive after that, which took nearly half the quarter, capped off by a 1-yard rushing touchdown by Ezekiel Elliott. So 10-7 Dallas. That would be the score after 1. The next Dallas possession, Dak Prescott hooks up with CeeDee Lamb. 6 plays, 47 yards, a 36-yard passing touchdown there, making it 14-10 Dallas. And that's why I really started to get concerned, because the Eagles really had no answer for CeeDee Lamb the entire game. They lined him up in the slot a bunch, and once Avonte Maddox went out with his toe injury, which I'm going to get into a little bit later, CeeDee Lamb just feasted on Josiah Scott, and Dallas's offense really started to get into rhythm with Lamb in the slot. However, the Eagles put together a really good fight, ended up coming back on their next drive and taking the lead after a 4th-and-goal QB sneak by Gardner Minshew gave the Eagles a 17-14 lead. Dallas would then later go down after a drive that took 5:19, kick a 21-yard chip shot. That drive stalled in the red zone. So 17 all. Eagles would add a field goal in the dying seconds of the first half, so they took a 20-17 lead into halftime. All in all, a pretty good first half for the Eagles. Only 1 turnover, and they scored on every possession except for that 1 turnover, and they take that 3-point lead into the half. Third quarter starts out very well for the Birds as they force a 3-and-out and then go down the field and score 14-yard touchdown pass from Gardner Minshew to Devontae Smith, one of his 2 touchdown catches on the day. Eagles go up by 10 against their second 10-point lead of the game, and things are looking good again. Dallas's next drive stalls. Brett Maher forced to kick a 44-yard field goal that just barely snuck in that left upright, making it 27-20. Dallas would then get the ball back after a Philadelphia turnover on the botched handoff there by between Minshew and I believe it was Boston Scott. Dallas would go down and score after they get a short field, so 27-all, and we got a tie game going into the fourth. In the fourth quarter, another quarter that started out very well for the Eagles, as they scored a touchdown on their first possession of the quarter, going up 34-27. Devontae Smith with that 9-yard touchdown catch, and things were looking pretty good. Next Dallas drive, they're forced into a 3rd and 30 after a couple of big Eagles sacks. Eagles, of course, could not fall on a fumble that Prescott had during that drive. Still, 3rd and 30. You got to stop that play. Unfortunately, T.Y. Hilton and Dallas had other plans as Dak Prescott connects with the new Cowboy. T.Y. Hilton on his first reception in a Dallas uniform is for 50 yards on that 3rd and 30. Of course, that was a drive that Dallas ended up going down and scoring. CeeDee Lamb with a 7-yard touchdown reception. However, going back to that 3rd and 30 a little bit more, that's just a play that cannot happen. I remember when the ball was in the air, I said to myself, just don't let this happen. And of course, the ball falls right into T.Y. Hilton's hands as he outruns both Josiah Scott and Darius Slay. Darius Slay did not have a good game. There were definitely a few plays that were very un-Slay-like. He got faked out on some routes or just straight up ran by, like on that 3rd and 30 play by Dallas. And all good cornerbacks all good players are gonna have off days. It's just a shame that this one came at the wrong time. The 3rd and 30 play, I think you could really put that into 2 categories. One, you could put it in like, how the heck can Darius Slay not make that play? It's 3rd and 30, just keep him in front of you. But you could also put it in the category of just fluky plays that just happen once in a while. They're rare, and it's just unfortunate this one happened at the wrong time. I'm leaning more towards that is the case with this play. I think it was more of a fluke. Again, Darius Slay is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He was just having a little bit of an off day against Dallas. I think he'll be fine. And I don't see the Eagles allowing another 3rd and 30 play this season. That being said, so now Dallas has this game tied 34-all. They would then get the ball back after an interception, make it 37-34. Eagles would then, of course, fumble on their ensuing drive. Miles Sanders getting the ball punched out behind the line of scrimmage. Fortunately, the Eagles' defense was able to make a stand and give them one last chance as Dallas had to kick a field goal on that play, 40-34 now. And the Eagles started going down the field on that final drive of the game. They got to within 19 yards of the goal line. However, the drive stalls there. Some good pass rush by Dallas. Was able to force the ball out Gardner Minshew's hand early on the 4th and 10 play that then ended the game. So Dallas wins 40-34. All in all, not a terrible game. I think the major problems that are going to come out of this game are on the injury front. Is 3 Eagles left the game. Jordan Davis with a head injury, most likely concussion, so I would not expect him to play against New Orleans. And then the 2 big ones, a abdominal tear for Pro Bowl tackle Lane Johnson, who was not allowed a sack in over 2 years. This is, of course, going to be a big loss. He's going to miss the rest of the regular season, and the Eagles do hope to have him back in the playoffs, and I think getting that first-round bye would be huge for him. I think we'll just give him that extra time, give everybody extra time to kind of rest up and recover, but, of course, a very big loss on the offensive side of the ball there, as Lane Johnson is out for the rest of the regular season with an abdominal tear. And then it was also announced yesterday that I think this is going to be probably the most key injury of them all, and that is that Avonte Maddox suffered, quote, a significant toe injury. He is out indefinitely. He's definitely out the rest of the regular season and potentially out of the postseason. Once we get really more of a clearer picture on what that injury is, we'll be able to kind of come up with a timeline there. But for now, it's just ruled as a significant toe injury for Maddox. He's out indefinitely. And I think this is going to be a bigger problem because you saw when Josiah Scott was in the ball game, especially when he was matched up on CeeDee Lamb, Dallas just attacked that matchup over and over again, and it continued to work. And I think it's a blueprint that other teams are going to take, especially into the playoffs. I'm not really worried about the 2 teams we have in front of us during the regular season, those being New Orleans and New York. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to exploit Josiah Scott as much, but I do think that, especially if we end up playing Dallas in the divisional round of the playoffs, which is very possible the way the standings are lining up right now, that injury could end up being a very costly one for the Birds. I'm also a little bit afraid of Jonathan Gannon. Of course, he's been a very good defensive coordinator this year. He's catching a little bit of heat for this game against Dallas, and maybe rightfully so. But I think on the other hand, you do kind of have to tip the cap to Dallas as they had a good game plan and they went out and executed it. However, I am concerned a bit about Jonathan Gannon because he has a reputation of not being able to adjust well, especially to injuries like this. Avonte Maddox being kind of that slot corner guy, and also could play a little bit of safety at times. He really allows the Eagles defense to run a whole lot of different schemes and a whole lot of different plays that you wouldn't be able to without him. And I'm just afraid that maybe Gannon isn't going to adjust very well and try to run some of those same schemes, some of those same sets with a guy like Josiah Scott in there. And I'm not sure how well that is going to work. I mean, maybe I'll be wrong. Hopefully I am. Hopefully Gannon's able to recognize this and adjust. It's just he does not have the best track record of doing that. So it is a little bit concerning for me. I do still think the Eagles are the favorites in the NFC and potentially in the entire NFL as well. I still think that they're the best team in the NFC. I think that I really still don't see a team coming into the Link in the playoffs and winning. I think right now, perhaps Dallas is now the biggest scare. Maybe they've passed San Francisco just because of this game. And Dallas, of course, has a high-powered offense, but the Eagles really were able to exploit their defense. Of course, no Jalen Hurts as well in that game. And also, and I cannot really stress this one enough, is that the game was played in Dallas. Philadelphia just has a totally different energy, it seems, when it comes to the playoffs. And I do think that Dallas would not be able to put up 40 points in our building, especially in a playoff game. Okay, switching gears now into the Sixers, who are red hot. They have won 8 straight games, and they find themselves right now 5th in the East, just 3 games back of the first place Boston Celtics, and just a game and a half back of second place, which is currently held by Milwaukee. Sixers, I mean, I think they're coming off now perhaps their best offensive game of the season on Christmas Day in New York, because they took down the Knicks 119 to 112. It was a very clean game, very fluid, nice pace to it. I thought that the Sixers, I really do think that it was probably their best offensive game of the year. They shot over 50% from the field, including over 46% from 3. They got contributions from all over the place. Joel Embiid led the team in scoring with 35 points. James Harden had a good game. He scored 29. George Niang also came up clutch in the fourth quarter as he went 4 of 9 from deep and overcame some shooting struggles there as well, and hit 3 big threes there late in the game to complete a Sixers comeback. It was a 14-point comeback victory for the Sixers. They've now overcome a combined 34 points of deficits over their last 2 games. Of course, they came back from down 20 the game before against the Clippers, come back from down 14 Christmas Day against New York. And they've just been playing really good basketball lately. I think the team is really finding a rhythm, especially offensively, as DeAnthony Melton has kind of asserted himself in the starting lineup and trying to make push for him to continue to be the starter even when Tyrese Maxey comes back, which it was announced that he is expected to come back on Friday in a game against the New Orleans Pelicans. Of course, Tyrese Maxey, whenever he's out, he's gonna be missed. But the Sixers have played very well without him, and it was announced that Maxey is most likely going to be on a minutes restriction when he comes back, and I'm okay with that. I mean, he hasn't played now in about a month and a half, and DeAnthony Melton has fit in quite nicely as the starting 2 guard. I really like his defense. His offense is really coming along. He's been shooting the lights out from 3 during this 8-game win streak. And it also was announced that even when Tyrese Maxey comes back and he's full strength, that it is possible that he will be used off the bench as kind of like a super 6th man, and DeAnthony Melton will continue to start. And I really do like that idea. I think it provides more defense in the Sixers starting lineup with Melton compared to Maxey, and I also think it's going to allow perhaps Maxey to get some minutes maybe without Joel Embiid on the floor, which for just some reason seems to be when he is at his strongest, when Maxey is not on the floor with Joel. And I think that if he comes off the bench, it's going to allow maybe for just more times that happens. I think it's going to add a whole nother, I think it would definitely add an entire new layer to the Sixers offense if you've got a guy who really is a starter in Tyrese Maxey coming off the bench. I just think it makes this team just that much better, that much harder to defend, that much harder to game plan against. So that's really why I'm quite intrigued by the Sixers potentially going with Maxey off the bench when he comes back. So do want to quickly get into what has contributed to this epic 8-game win streak the Sixers are on, and I think the biggest part is just the fact that they're getting contributions from pretty much everybody. Like I said, D'Anthony Melton shooting the lights out, James Harden, he's dropping dimes and buckets as well, of course, coming off the 29-point game against New York, and the game before that, a career high and Sixers franchise tying high 21 assists, also added 20 points and 11 rebounds for his 70th career triple-double in the win against the Clippers. So he's been balling. He looks like he's very comfortable running this offense right now. Joel Embiid is doing Joel Embiid things, leading the league in scoring at about 33 points per game, as he's just been able to basically score 30 in his sleep. Since it seems that he's gotten back to full strength after starting the season, maybe a little out of shape, but he definitely looks like he's rounding out right now. The three-point shooting has been fantastic. George Niang has been a huge part of that. The minivan has been getting his shots up and putting a lot of them in. He struggled over the last couple of games. However, watching Niang now for the last season and a quarter about, he will go through his shooting struggles, but most of the time, he will be shooting the ball pretty well from deep. It seems to be he'll maybe go 3 or 4 weeks where he's shooting the lights out. Then maybe have a week or two where he just struggles a little bit. But I think that the benefits of Niang shooting the ball far outweigh the risks, and that's a big part why the Sixers have won 8 straight. They're getting great contributions on the defensive end by guys like D'Anthony Melton. Joel Embiid has really stepped up his play on the defense as well, and I think that Montrezl Harrell has been kind of a sneaky contributor as well. He's really staked out a role as that backup 5 to Joel Embiid. Doc Rivers, I think it's been pretty clear that he's been going to Harrell more than he's been going to Paul Reed. Of course, early in the season, he was kind of giving them both the same amount of minutes just to see who would maybe take over as the backup 5. And Montrezl Harrell certainly has done that. He's provided a pretty good spark off the bench. Of course, he doesn't really need to provide that much considering the fact that Embiid's going to be in the game most of the time. However, it's really nice to see Harrell performing at this level as well, and it's really nice to see the Sixers team chemistry that they've got. They're really playing clean basketball right now, and they all look like they're on the same page. And hopefully they're able to continue this because they are going to go on a road trip now for the next week or so. They've got some tough games in there. Their next game is tonight, 7 o'clock, against the Washington Wizards, as they look to extend their winning streak to 9. Sixers are 4.5-point favorites last I checked for this game, so Vegas favoring them to get to 9 consecutive wins, and I think that they will too. I think they're just all around a better team than Washington. They're red hot. I don't see the Wizards being the team to end this win streak. Of course, it's going to be a little bit tougher Friday against New Orleans. They've been a really good team as they're right up there at the top of the West. Probably a little bit of a surprise there. However, New Orleans is definitely a scary team. Sixers, though, focusing on tonight, I think that they are going to be able to get it done and extend their win streak to 9 games and just continue to play this great brand of basketball that they have got going on over the last 3 weeks. And alright, that is going to wrap things up for this edition of the Philly Sports Spot YouTube channel. Again, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and like this video. Make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications turned on so you never miss another upload. I'm not going to be able to get a video out this weekend, however, I should be able to get one out next Saturday, January 7th. It'll probably end up being an Eagles-Giants preview for the last game of the season. Also, I'll talk about whatever else is going on in the world of Philly sports. Make sure you guys are also following me on Instagram. The link's going to be down in the description below, or you could just look me up. It's at Philly Sports Spot. That's PhillySportSpot. So just one S between sport and spot. And until next time, guys, have a happy new year. Let's go Birds and let's go Sixers.